this is such an important topic that we're just not really looking at anymore, because I think it's offensive to our culture, and it's something that's become a hot topic. And I can't tell you the last time I heard a sermon on what is God's man. So my first question for you is, why is it important for men to be God's men?
James, that's a great question. It actually reminds me of a conversation I had with my son, Alan, about 20 years ago. I was at Florida State University at the time. He was in his 20s, and if you know anything about Florida State football, you know that was the heyday of Bobby Bowden in the 1990s, and these great teams, and we really got into the Seminole football while we were there, and we were watching a game one day with our arch rival Florida Gators, Steve Spurrier, and it came down to the last few minutes of the game, and it was one of those nail biters. And if you know anything about Bobby Bowden, he had any number of those kinds of moments, and we lost that game like in the last 30 seconds or so. And you've probably seen some of those videos of wide right. You know, Bobby Bowden would have won a national championship if the guy had just kicked it straight, you know. And I would wake up in the morning at 3 o'clock saying, hey, if he'd have just kicked it straight, I would be a national champion, right? And so this game, we lost it at the very end to the hated rivals. And Alan and I were just so upset about it and just so emotional about it. And it just kind of hit me, James. I'm like, hey, if we have gotten this emotional about what a group of 18, 20-year-old kids do on a Saturday afternoon, then we've gotten too close to it. And the reason I say that is we tend to be very emotional about things that are connected to our identity. And so I'm sitting here thinking, well, hey, what kind of influence am I having on my own son about being a man of God, and where does he place his sense of identity? And in that moment, after losing that game and being very emotional, I looked at him and I said, Alan, I'm going to say something to you that I don't want you to ever forget. I said, your identity is in Christ. It's not in the Seminoles. Your victory is in Christ. It is not in what a group of 18 to 20-year-old boys do on a Saturday afternoon. And we literally prayed that from that moment forward, we would let keep sports in its proper place, and never lose sight that our greatest identity, our greatest victory is being men of God and having our identity in Christ.